Welcome to our first episode of the Outback podcast. Today, we talk all things about us, how we started, some controversial topics, and all stories fishing related. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Cheers, guys. Welcome to episode 1 of the Outback podcast. My name is Jake, and I'm here with Sam and Ben. How are you fellas today?
Good.
Yeah, good man. Good.
Going good.
Hot today? Middle of summer at the moment?
Lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Lucky for these golden things in the can.
This is our very first episode of the podcast. We decided to try something new for 2025. We're not sure how it's going to go, but we're going to give it a red hot crack this year. And today in episode 1, we're going to talk about us, basically. Real selfish of us to start off with.
The story.
We're going to talk about the OAA story, why we do what we do, what we're doing, and then we'll get on to a couple topics. We're literally just going to talk about our origin story and how we became the threesome. Pretty cute threesome. What it was me and, I'll let you tell the story.
Yeah.
You can sort of remember, I messaged you.
Yeah, it was, I don't know what it was, but something just came out of nowhere. We both just messaged each other. Like, we've been on a few fishing trips, camping trips lately, and we're like, we're going to Lake Eildon. And I'm like, I really just want to make an Instagram page just to post some photos and just, I don't know, for everyone to see. And then I was after that trip when I got a bit of content. I'm like, you know what, how fun would it be to do it with some mates? And then you messaged me that day. I don't know what came of it.
I reckon I've got the Snapchat messages. I still reckon I saved them from that day. Yeah. And I'm going to find them as you keep talking.
Yeah, you pretty much, you told me, you said, hey, come around, we'll invite Ben around, come around like after work, and we'll just discuss the idea with Ben. So we're like, yeah, we'll make a YouTube channel, we'll start doing all that. And we just didn't tell Ben anything. We're like, hey, we've got a business idea.
You're going to be involved. You just have to roll with it.
Yeah. I've got the message here. So 29th of September 2021. This is me to Sam. Yo, so I've had a thought. Maybe we should start videoing our adventures, whether it be fishing, camping, or forward driving. Just general videos of our adventures. I've been thinking about roping Ben into it, doing something with me, but maybe we could do something with all three of us. Just a thought I had, and I'm keen to hear what you think. All good if you aren't keen, but let me know. That was the start of it. There we go. 29th September 2021.
Day one.
Day one. When we released our first video on the 1st of November.
What was it, 2 weeks we gave ourselves to film?
Well, no, because that's a month.
You skip the core bit.
Go, let's go.
So then they invited me over to Jake's rental house at the time. So we all met up there, and then they finally. I wanted to know what this business idea was during the work.
You're not good with secrets, are you? You like to know.
Yeah,
things.
I was just tell me what it is. It can't be that big of a deal. Anyway, I go over and the boys are like, well, we want to start filming, all these trips that we're doing as a threesome, and even the other boys, but just sort of exclusively us because the circle can't be too big. So we started chatting, and what were the core values that you wanted to see at the start? I think it was always just going to be for fun.
Yeah.
I
can't remember this.
I think it was the main one. Was definitely keep doing it for fun.
It was not like a not for profit. It was always just going to be
for fun. Get everyone together. Yeah. Go on trips.
That was the main value, I reckon. And then so we set off to our first video, which is embarrassing to look back.
It's embarrassing, but it's good to look back on.
It's pretty funny, to watch. Yeah, first one.
The Stanley 4x4 video. If any of the OGs will remember that video, or won't, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, don't go back and watch that one. Yeah.
But I guess you got to start somewhere, and that's where we started, and it's been nearly 3.5 years later. Which is pretty mad to think about. I was thinking about it the other day. The best thing about it, it's like not forced you, but it it kind of encouraged you to go on trips to make videos. But it's a good thing that it did that, because we wouldn't have all these memories with each other with our extended OAA group.
Yeah.
And like I look back at some of the best times I've had over the last 3 years, and it's been with you two, and it's been with Hayden and Tyson and Robbo and Cheese and who am I missing? Brody. Oh, who? Yeah, Brody. So yeah, it's been good to have that to look back on. Like looking back on all of our, like, I love that high country stuff, especially like bringing in people as well, like with Mark as well, and Brett. Like it was cool to film, and yeah, that's personally my favorite thing is because I'm going through all our old content at the moment and turning them into reels and stuff, and I get to watch all the old videos again, and I'll tell you what, I'm getting distracted because I love them. It's so much fun looking back and just getting engrossed in what we used to do, and then obviously we're not stopping, we're not slowing down, we're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the main things that we said at the start is if we do this, we go on these trips, we've got them as a memory forever.
Yeah. I remember saying there was at least 2 or 3 things like that. I reckon, yeah, that was definitely one of them though. But that's got to be my favourite as well. I reckon it's just literally every trip from now on is never lost. Like whether, even if we don't make an upload, which many of you guys don't see, you know, how much footage is a failure, or not a failure, but in the reject bin. Like we've all got that on a drive, and we can go back and have a look at any of those trips, key moments, or it's fun to look back on.
Is that your favourite thing about it?
I think the main thing is the memories. You can always look back. We've made so many.
It's been a lot, and it has forced you, quotation mark there, to go on trips, but like it's very cool. Like we do an annual trip to the high country every May, and like it's like sort of forced, but I honestly can't wait for this year's one. Like, I'm gonna make sure we do it. You gotta do 3 days.
We always say
this year we're doing 3 days. So any other things to add to the origin story there, boys?
Well, I reckon, truth be told, they'll never tell me, but the only reason they invited me into the business plan is no one wants to see 4-wheel drive videos with a fucking Triton and a Navara. That is the truth.
Should we tell them the real truth, Sam?
They need a thumbnail car and that's it. Oh, and also I catch all the fish, so...
The real truth is we actually just needed a mechanic. You're the closest we knew.
Fair.
Yeah, Brody didn't cut the mustard. Oh, well, let's move on to our first segment then. Let's talk about the current summer series that we're filming at the moment. Something different. I'll mention where I got the idea from. I watch a lot of YouTube stuff, and I like a lot of golf YouTube, which obviously I know you do as well, but there's this group in England that I follow, and they do a lot of challenges against each other, and I thought, well, if we can take that into the fishing scene, maybe it's something different, because we don't see that a lot on YouTube on the stuff that we watch. And that was where I came up with the summer series. So I'll let one of the boys explain what the Sammy, do you want to explain what the summer series is? Yeah,
so pretty much it's just a short couple videos that we'll put together that it'll be like me. The first one's going to be me versus Ben, which is out now. You can see the results there, and then next it's you and Ben.
Yeah.
And then I'll play the loser.
No. So we all playing each other in a round robin.
Right.
So you've played Ben, so that video is already out. So we already know that Ben beats you. Now we filmed maybe Ben. We don't know, or we know the results, but they don't know the results of it. And then we've got to do me v you. So the top 2 will go into the grand final. And then we'll have a little Murray Cod trophy, hopefully, that can take home for the summer. But we're not, when we fish, we're not competitive ever, really, are we? We're like, that's the only time we're nice to each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's literally the only time we're nice. Yeah.
Although I was towards the end of the me v you.
Oh man, it got heated.
That's the only time I was. Yeah, I won't say too much because it's a good video coming out. But yeah, it was a race to the finish.
The finish, yeah, the last couple minutes is a real. You got to watch it to the end because it's funny and there's not a lot of talking between me and Ben.
It was just dead quiet. I'm in the back filming. It's just quiet, and they're just fishing. I'm like, what the hell's happening here?
Yeah, we're never competitive, but then when we started doing this comp, we've got competitive.
Big time.
Unlike, I've got my last one we got to do is me v Sam, and I honestly just want to flog him.
See, I've got no pressure. Like, I'm not a massive fisherman, so I'm easy. But I reckon I've got him easy in the next one.
Oh, big words from the videographer of the group. That's the only reason you're in the group.
Yeah, that's right, yeah,
To film. Have you been enjoying like the banter and the competitiveness? Something we don't really do.
Yeah, no, it's been good. Look, I enjoy any fishing trip, to be honest with you, but no, it's good. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out. But what about you?
Yeah, I do like it. It's something different because we're always trying to help out each other get fish and everything like that. It's exciting and it's sort of something different that we haven't done before, so it is nice to try something new. I think one thing, because we've been doing a lot of summer series in the kayaks, which has been a lot of fun because a lot of dumb shit happens all the time, like Ben flipping in the kayak, you flipping in the kayak, we're losing stuff.
I didn't flip in the kayak.
Oh, sorry, yeah, you were out of the kayak.
How do I even do that? How am I out of the
no
kayak
idea.
but still flip into
You
the
just
kayak?
jumped out, sort of thing, and just dipped. As like kayaks flowing down the river, no one's in them. Like, there's a lot of funny stuff that happens. But one thing about the kayaks I realise is once you catch a fish, it's like how the hell, unless you have a net, it's just dealing with it. It's getting it in there. You throw it in there, and it's just jumping around at your legs.
You got to open your legs real wide to make sure you don't get that treble in there.
And the net's a pain to carry, isn't it?
It is.
I do carry that one with me, but it's usually only for like bigger fish. That's why you've never used it.
Yeah. And like, especially going in, you have to try and thumb the fish, and it's rattling around. You're going to get hooked yourself. It's just the hardest thing ever.
Well, that's where we've been using the lip grips. No, lip grips are a funny one with me. I actually fucking hate lip grips. I'm not a massive lover. I don't think they're good for the fish.
Not the steel ones, anyway.
Do you reckon the plastic ones
I
are?
reckon they're a lot better.
Better.
I reckon they're a lot better.
This is just my opinion. The reason I don't like using the lip grips at all is I feel like the reason I do use them is because the kayak. Like I don't want that rattling around on me. I'll hold them in the water. I'll take the hooks out. If it's a bigger fish, I'll just go straight for the net and deal with it on the bank. Don't use the lip grips at all. The reason I don't like the lip grips, especially the metal ones, when they do that roll and it's in their lip, like they just roll on it. It's not good. Like they can break out of it sometimes, but for the small fish, like that can't be good. That quick death roll they do. I do prefer the thumb in. That way, if it does roll, thumb comes straight out. That's my opinion. What do you think?
Well, with the plastic ones, because they haven't got that rotation point, that fitting, like because the steel ones, the clevis rotate so that you can do the death roll.
Okay.
And because they don't clamp tight, they're sort of, it's let a bit of slop and it just sort of flaps around. When they do that roll, it allows it to puncture, I reckon. Whereas the plastic ones, they're like a vice grip. They grip on firm.
Yeah.
And the fish can't maneuver like that.
But if they did, what would happen?
They can't.
Well, a big one would though. Like, are you just letting go of the grips or?
Yeah, you can let go of the grips if you want. But I don't know if you've ever noticed, but if you get a good cod, even a big cod, and if you've got your thumbs in its mouth, and if you press upwards on the bottom of its mouth, right, to like prop its mouth open, it's almost like it freezes the fish. Like it does it. Like if you see a fish about to roll, and most people will like sort of try and bail out of a thummy grip, the fish will do hectic stuff. But if you just commit 100% and hold that fish and put a little bit of pressure under its chin, it will not.
Yeah.
It won't roll.
Yeah. That makes sense. Which is probably why when you do
Yeah, when you're holding onto a meter at the side of the boat, it can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So because you got that fixed point with those steel ones, they can 360 swivel, which is why it gets itself into that roll. I don't know. That's just my theory. And I think the plastic. I know if I had my mouth open, I'd much prefer a set of plastic.
Well, maybe next episode we'll grab a set and we'll
yeah,
try.
yeah, well we can. Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't really like it. It is easier in the kayaks and all that. That's the only thing. But when you have a big fish, you're not going to do that. I think you'd be better off thumbing it or chucking a glove on if it's that bad and going that way about it. But when you're in certain situations like the kayaks and the punt and everything like that, it's a bit harder. Then it's sort of like, oh well, we might as well just obviously care for the fish, but. Yeah, it is hard as well, but I think it would be interesting to see about the plastic.
We'll have to get a set and see. I'll be curious because I know I've seen in Jacko's videos he only uses the plastic one, so maybe he has got maybe there's something in that. But he uses it for all sizes of fish. Like I personally, if it was that big, I'd do the old Lubin and just go straight in with the thumb, no matter where it was. If it was that big. Like, I wouldn't be using lip grips on a big fish. Like, would you?
Well, I'd rather lip grips than nothing, that's for sure.
But you just go balls deep with the thumb.
What if it's choked a swim bait and it's got like trebles in the danger zone?
It depends how desperate I was. Say I'm in my home river here at home, mate. I'll throw whatever I need in that mouth to make sure I land that fish. I won't care about like lip grips. I'll just go for the thumb because I think I'm stronger than. Well, I am stronger than the lip grips, and I know I'll hold on for that for dear life. So yeah, that's.
If you recommend any specific brand of lip grips, leave a comment if you're watching the YouTube version.
I want to mention something that you brought up to me the other day, Ben, and it was about the Ovens River. Now, as most people in Australia know, Southeast Australia, everyone knows the Ovens River. It's well known as one of the best Murray cod fisheries in terms of numbers. I can't remember the numbers they have per kilometre, but it's a hell of a lot. But you said to me, do you think the Ovens River is slowing down in terms of numbers of fish? Now, do you want to go into that?
Yeah. So this is my theory on it. Like definitely, I knew Sam first. We should have went through this at the start. Actually, we should have went through this at the start. But anyway, me and Sam have known each other since knee high to a grasshopper. Anyway, we've just got into fishing. Our dads were into fishing, so we just sort of picked up from that. We got taught the basics of bait fishing, and then as we progressed, we'd go down to the ovens and drown chicken, and we could get up, 8 to 12 fish out of one hole. That's not moving.
In how long?
Oh, 3 hours.
Yeah, less for sometimes.
Yeah.
What was the time? There was always a time.
The junction.
Yeah.
We caught 26 fish in a session at the junction.
Like 3 or 4 hours.
In 3 or 4 hours.
Just sitting there doing nothing.
Just one hole, 3 blokes. No, anyway, getting back on track. The river was booming. And to be honest, I can't remember the last time I bait fish, so it could still be like that. But when we got into lure fishing, now don't get me wrong, spinner baits, and even the prior version to the spinner baits, I think they call them is it an aero? They're like a big blade, 2 big blades.
Oh, the aeroplane spinners.
Aeroplane spinners. So they've been around for a long time, don't get me wrong. But I reckon we came into the age group where fishing transitioned a bit. Yeah. So not only do you have us younger people coming in and lure fishing, divers, small swim baits, surface is a big one, spinner baits, all the generation up from us started doing this as well. Yeah. So you've got, you used to have just bait fishermen. Now you've just got all this lure pressure from
the next generation coming through.
From the first generation that showed us, and the next generation, and it's gone on. We're 2025 now. I reckon the amount of lure throwers has gone through the roof.
It's probably more like lures going around now than bait, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially people under the age of, say, 35, 40?
Yeah.
Would you, is that about the age? Would you say that's about the tipping point?
Yeah.
Like we very rarely bait fish every now and then. Usually when we're at camping. But yeah, and we've done a few trips in the last month to 6 weeks since Cotto, or pretty much since season opened. And like I can't think of a trip really where we just brained them. Like, can you, like that one for the first summer series episode? It's like you did.
I did
okay.
right. Yeah, I got 10.
Yeah.
So
Was that just you?
Yeah, that's just me.
And I only got 2, and you got
4 before you lost your rod.
I mean, so, spoilers, but
They don't see that. They don't see them losing the rod.
Oh, I don't.
Nah. You should clear that up, Ben. Come on, tell them, because they're never going to see this. Talk about that quickly.
Right, river fishing is fantastic. Like it's almost, I'd say it's my favourite style of fishing. But there's one thing about it: you cannot get away with floating down that river without A, hurting yourself, B, losing gear, C, damaging gear. It's one of the 3.
Can I jump in here? Sam manages to do that.
I haven't tipped over.
Well, I can't remember the last time you did a float and didn't lose something. I'm sort of that middle ground between the two of you. You're extra safe, you're extra rogue, and I'm somewhere in the middle.
It's pretty much like our finances too.
Yeah, true. That's probably why we all compliment each other.
No, I honestly can't remember the last river float where I haven't, had to get the pliers and cut off a broken tip on your rod, or tie on a new lure at bare minimum, or you come home and you're absolutely blistering with sunburn. Like it's just always
blackberry cuts. We had them the other night.
Oh, blackberry cuts. It's so bad. And actually, the recent one probably takes the cake. I left my shoes accidentally on the bank up further, and we come across this gnarly section of water, and my feet were bloody hurting so bad walking on the rocks, and the boys were getting out and walking on the rocks. I said, I'm just going to drive this. Anyway, didn't even think of it. Had my camera.
Wait, didn't even think of it. There was a lot of chatter from me and Sam saying, please don't do this. I don't think you should do this.
Yeah.
Look at it. It doesn't look safe.
Anyway, so I had my camera mounted on my head, which wasn't fixed. It's just like a head torch thing. It slips over. And I didn't even think of that. All I thought about was the rod. Anyway, I come in confident as ever and just absolutely come a gutter. And gone, it actually sucked me like half under this log, and I didn't even notice the camera was gone. I was frantically searching for my rod underwater, and I popped up, and Sam's just like, I was like, oh, my hat. And he's like, not the hat. So the camera, because we just wasted a whole day's worth of filming. So anyway, emotions were through the roof, and the vibes were down.
Oh, it was flat.
It was flat.
We searched for it for a while.
We were half an hour just in this one hole.
So that we were at the transition of Sam v Ben, and then we just started Ben v Jake, which never actually surfaced because of me losing.
It's a good job because you went 2-0 up on me.
Yeah,
so good job that episode never came to fruition.
You should give me an extra point for that.
Nah, sorry, mate. That's DNF.
Anyway, cut to the chase. 48 hours go past, and the boys were saying, if you're going to wear goggles and go and look for that gear, you got to go, the next day. Otherwise, the current was strong. Hey, so anyway, I couldn't get there until 48 hours after, and I went and bought I think it was a child set of goggles, because
I didn't know they were child set.
Yeah, they're like pink, and like I was looking through the corner of my eyes because they were so fucking small. And I went underwater, and we were up at around the 25-minute mark and still nothing. And I don't know, I just had this feeling that I was going to find something, and then it was a bit of a risky spot. There was high current, and I just dived under this log.
Do you remember the message you sent before you went in to us?
Yeah.
You said if you don't hear from me in an hour, come look for me.
Yeah.
That's just reassurance you want.
So, and I could just see this band of the head mount just flickering. I was like, "Oh, is that it? Surely it's not a leaf." And I was almost out of breath. I was like, "Fuck it, I've got eyes on it. I'm going for it now." So I used all my breath to go down, and I grabbed this fucking camera and come back up. And I just remember, no one was with me. I was just screaming. I was just like, "Yes, fucking come on!" And so I was all pumped up. I literally double knotted that headband to a tree because I was so scared of losing it again. And then I went back down under to try and find my rod. And 5 meters after the camera, my rod was there with the swim bait. I just caught that good fish on. So I come back at the boys and I sent them a photo of the rod. I was like, "Look what I found." And then I sent them another photo of the camera. I was like, "I also found the video." So, yeah.
Thank God you found that.
So it's in perfect condition. So, but that's my worst kayak. Well, worst kayak loss and best kayak win.
I was so happy. I was going over the mountain when I saw it. I was elated. That is a great story.
I think that's another thing we could, I guess, going back to, how we all met, because not many people know that story, I guess, if you want to dive into that.
Yeah.
Or obviously you sort of touched on us as sort of growing up together through school and everything like that, fishing all the time.
You guys dated for a while, didn't you?
Oh yeah, big time, yeah. So that was a good time, and now we're still here. And then you came along through soccer.
I would have known you first, but you would have been 16 or something.
Yeah, I would have been pretty young. Yeah.
2016, so 9 years ago.
So I would have been 16, 17. So I turned 17 that year.
That was 23 or something.
Yeah, so
22.
Playing soccer, and then this English fella rocked up. I don't think we really spoke much.
We didn't. I wouldn't. No, we wouldn't spoken for like
sort of
4
resies.
years, I reckon.
A bit more.
Yeah. And then that's how we eventually met.
Yeah.
I didn't hear. I can't remember how I found out you liked fishing. I just can't remember that. I remember fishing. I remember the first time I fished with you though, because I was going with Berkey once.
Yeah.
Do you remember this trip or not?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
We were on the. Huh?
Is this the job?
No. We fished before that.
Yeah.
So me and Berkey were doing a kayak float on the Ovens, and I messaged Sam and I was like, "Hey, you want to come?" We weren't really friends, but I knew I didn't really have many people that was friends with that fished at the time. And I remember because you hadn't done much of it either, had you?
I've done fishing, not kayak. I've never, I think that was honestly like the second or third time kayak fishing. I only just bought the kayak.
Do you remember you getting smoked on surface?
Yeah.
And you literally threw, I reckon you threw 20 casts in there afterwards. And I reckon after about 10, I was like, "Mate, I don't think he's coming back."
I'm like, "Yeah, come on."
Yeah. I remember I was like, "Mate, if he doesn't come back after 2 or 3, he ain't coming back."
Yeah. So me and Ben didn't know that. Yeah. We're throwing surface and just go for it.
Yeah, that was the first time we fished together. And then I didn't meet Ben under fishing circumstances though. I met you. Do you remember where I met you?
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember?
Oh, pub golf.
Pub golf.
Yeah.
Pub golf.
So I guess we can thank Tom Scott for that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I set that up with him as well. But, you know.
We met at a drinking event, and it was, I can't remember, it must have been end of 2020, I reckon it was the year.
Yeah, it would have been end of 2020. Yeah.
Because it was November
that was the
of
first
that year?
year, and then 2021.
Yeah.
We had the next one.
Yeah, and then we met through that. But I think you just heard that I fished, and I think I was the same about you. And I remember you inviting me on a trip a couple months later. I think you did a kayak trip with Brody and Sam, which we talked about the other day. And I remember you invited me on that, and I couldn't come. But then we did that trip to the first time. Not fish, but I went on a trip with you. Was that one to Eildon where it was ridiculous. It was like 39 degrees all weekend. We should have cancelled the trip.
Yeah,
We should have cancelled it. It was me and Berkey and you two and Brody, and you had your dad's.
Yeah, we did. I didn't
Dad's
have
boat.
a suitable cod fishing boat with an electric motor, so the only alternative we had, and we went with it. We just took a trout trolling boat with just a petrol motor on it, so we're in and out of bays, just and just floating into the bay. But
I nearly.
We did catch a fish.
We got a fish. I missed out. I still haven't. I love Eildon so much, but I just haven't caught a fish in
Give me your
11,
number.
11 trips so far.
11 trips.
I've caught the bait fish, but I don't count it.
That's fair.
Yeah,
You wanna
there
go
was
down a little.
there was that one time. It was the first ever trip. We were all like, we had the Jono, the big Jono there, like on the boat, and then we had you and Berkey just over the other side, and that was when Brody was swimming behind the boat, holding on, just swimming, and I was just fishing with a little orgy, and then this big like 80, 90 just come up and swiped it at the surface.
Fry Bay.
I was literally like pulling
We were
it out
done.
of the water. We were done.
The
We
session
were
was
just cruising.
done.
I'm like, yeah, I'll pull it out of the water. And then boom, and it just like whole body just came up. I was like, oh my God. And that could have been the
But you've
time.
had other chances there.
I've had chances.
Ben was
I just-
telling me about a fish that you dropped the other day
Yeah.
at Eildon.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a good one as well.
Yeah, that was not fun.
In
yeah.
a well-known good fish area.
Yeah.
On the, was it the orange perch palm?
Orange perch pump, my favourite thing ever.
I love them as well.
Yeah.
I hate that I had to hang that from the wall. I
Mine's
hope Rory
gone.
makes a couple of them.
How good are
Unfortunately
perch
gone.
palms in
Yeah,
general?
they are good.
Great. But yeah, I've lost mine. It was on that tree.
Yeah.
Gone now, but anyway. Yeah, sad times.
Oh well, so yeah, so that was our first trip, and then that just the rest of that 2021.
I think because that trip you caught the
93.
93 on surface
surface.
at Eildon, and that's like I knew there was big fish in the dam, but just seeing that was my first time seeing how somebody would actually approach them and target them in a dam, and that I reckon just seeing you catch that fish lit a fire for me for impoundment fishing. I definitely
I actually didn't know that.
I already had a fire for river fishing, but that's the first time I've seen someone like seriously target cod. Like, because with Dad, we'd just float up the river and he'd just have the motor idling, and I was on the front flicking a spinner bait or just old school. And then even I remember the lure you were throwing, like that big rat, like big surface lures I'd never even seen before. And then not long after that, you took me to Lake Buffalo.
Just before you move on, I know what story you're going to tell, but can I just tell a story about that rat?
Yeah.
Do you know what
Yeah,
I did about
I know.
that?
I remember.
Do you remember this or not?
I don't. Oh, isn't? Yeah, I do.
Do you know when
remember that. Yeah,
like
actually, I
lures
remember now.
come with the plastic on the
Yeah, I
hooks?
do remember
I hate
that.
when they come with that.
this is not the story I was
Oh, okay. Well, this is what I'm going to tell him. But you know this, don't you? I threw I can't. What's the brand? It's one of those Savage Gear. Savage Gear rat. It's just a wake bait. And I didn't take the plastic off the hooks. I got no idea how this fish hooked up.
Yeah.
Just nailed it.
Yeah.
Through the plastic. I remember getting in the net. Berkey netted it for me. And I remember looking down and I was pulling it out and I was like, holy fuck. How has it penetrated this plastic and stuck? Because, you know, you're always looking at your hooks and then like, oh, is this sharp enough? Well, it's obviously, I don't know, it's just gotten through the plastic.
It must have bit hard.
Oh, I had to. That was my first big impoundment fish, and that set the fire for me as well.
Yeah.
So that was good. But yeah, sorry, continue on with your buffalo story.
Yeah, so getting back to, there was also another story. I remember you never told any of us, but the day that we arrived at Eildon,
Oh, yes. I was even going to say this.
you'd seen a water rat, a small water
at
rat
camp.
on the surface at camp, and you kept that to yourself, knowing that you had that in your tackle box.
Well, I didn't think it, wasn't like I was trying to hide it
No,
from
we're
you.
not trying to hide it. But
I just thought in my head.
that's smart. Like, and I'm so grateful you had that lure because it's match the hatch.
He might have hit a paddler. He might have hit a swim
Probably
bait.
would have, but it was successful. So
It was just that little bit that I just thought of that might have just changed his mind.
yeah. So anyway, getting back to lighting the fire for impoundment fish. Yeah. So that was the first time seeing Jake just with an open cab boat with an electric motor, just being able to weave in and out of the snags and throwing these bigger baits. I thought that's really cool. And anyway, so we got to know each other a bit on that trip, and then we went to Lake Buffalo.
Yeah, we really started fishing together after that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Especially me and you. We went a lot together.
Yeah, and I remember you were throwing the big baramba, the huge one.
Bidgewong.
The 285, I think it is.
I think it is.
Yeah. And anyway, it was getting dark, and I'm pretty sure I was nagging you to pull the pin. I was like, oh, come on. And you would literally like one more cast and just puts this veranda into the thickest
We
timber.
couldn't see anything, could we?
Couldn't see.
I didn't know there was timber there.
Pitch black, and got this massive wallop on the surface, and just winched this fish out. I don't know how he didn't get it snagged or.
And when we
lost
turned the light
fish.
on, it was just like trees everywhere.
And that was it. And then for the next 2 years, we were just surface fishermen.
I can't remember how big that was. It was like in the 90s.
Oh yeah, it was a 90-something. I reckon it was low 90s.
Yeah, I reckon it's low 90s as well.
And then we started fishing a lot on surface in other lakes, and then we had that run of 90 centimeter fish. We had
the pre-active target and pre-live scope years.
pre-active target over in Moala. We had I had 3 fish over 90 centimeters off the top. You ended up with 2 or 3 as well.
Yeah.
This was all in the space of two months in Moala. We were just having a bloody ball all the time.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good. That was a good introduction to fishing with each other as well.
Yeah.
I think that's why we like fishing with each other now. We just always seem to go all right when we go. We either go really good or we end up in blackberry bushes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Righto, we're going to introduce a segment that we'll probably try and do every week, which is just going to be a story. Oh, I don't know what the segment will be called. At the moment I've written down, I can't believe this happened, but I'm sure there'll be a catchier name than that coming along at some point. And it's just a story from me, Sam, or Ben, of something that you just couldn't believe. Something dumb, something funny, something amazing.
There's so many.
There is a lot, and we got a lot of stories. But this week I want to talk about, I'll talk about it because it's funny. It's a recent video we just put out on our socials, and it was with me and Ben. And it was hopefully most of you have seen it by now because it's a pretty incredible video. It's the eagle video. Now, I want to throw this to you, Ben, and I want to throw exactly. You go through what happened in your head, and then I'll go to me.
So we were having just a boat conversation. I can't even recall what it was about. Probably about where the fish were heading, where we think they'd be, where we're going to fish later. Anyway, so I think I was pole dancing, and I was looking at the screen. I just remember hearing this.
Yeah, I was blind casting, like just enjoying the scenery, like I always do.
Back in the day. And I just remember hearing this like cry of a bird. I didn't think too much of it, and then all of a sudden, just this boosh, just a big splash. I thought Jake's just got absolutely belted at the boat on a plastic. I'm freaking out. I look over, and then I actually see that there's this eagle. I actually believe it was hanging onto the lure.
I agree.
And Jake's like, it looked like he was going to bring it into the boat. I was just on the video. I was like, let the bail go. And oh my God, you'd never think of it, would you?
Mate, I could not believe what was happening. I remember, because I was obviously, it's coming over my left shoulder.
Yeah.
So I sort of see it in my peripherals. Like as I'm talking to you, I can't remember what we're talking about. I think I was talking about eeling actually. It was white. It was like the perch palm that I was throwing. And I just see out the corner of my eye, this eagle's getting closer. And it just, I don't know how fast they fly, but they must be going 50, 60 k's an hour. Anyway, talons out, boom, nails his perch palm, straight on the water. I obviously muted a lot of the swearing. There's F's and C's being dropped left, right, and centre. But because it hits me, and then it tries to take off, but then it can't, and then its wings are just open in the water. And it rattled me because I thought, afterwards, I didn't think it at the time, but if it wasn't hooked, why didn't it just let go then?
Yeah, like they're such a feisty creature.
But then it took off and tried to take it again.
Yeah, might have just thought it was a bloody meat of cod, mate. Yeah, just winching it out of the water.
Yeah, it was wild. And then it did we think it was only holding on.
Yeah, we think, or maybe at worst case, maybe it had like the treble through the toe of its foot, and it wasn't able to go. But it definitely wasn't hooked because as soon as we let the bail go, it literally just hopped off the water and went.
But you'd think the way it comes down, obviously the trebles are on the bottom, so the way it comes down, it's going to grab
the top.
It's going to grab the
There's no
the
hooks,
body.
I reckon it's all body.
I reckon it's just hanging.
The hooks are just hanging at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's just wanting this fish so bad, so it's taking off again, and then we're like, oh shit, I can't get this, so it takes off and lets go.
Because
I reckon
they've
that's what it
got
looks
good
like.
enough grip to hang on to lizards and all
Yeah,
sorts of
true.
shit that they hang on to. So I think it was honestly just not backing down. I think it wanted it.
That perch palm could tell some stories, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And actually, I ended up retiring it 3 weeks later, so it's hanging on the wall. So which is pretty cool. That is that lure.
That is hanging on that wall.
And an eagle grabbed it, and he caught 1.2 meters about 3 weeks later. So that is hanging on the wall. And that brings us to our final segment of the first ep, which will hopefully have a better name in a couple of weeks. But we're just going to talk about. We talked before about I can't believe this didn't happen. This happened. So we're just going to talk about a cool story now. And we're going to roll into our COD close for 2023-2024 season. So I'm going to pass that on. Do you know who I'm going to pass it on to? I'm going to pass it on to Sam. Because
Me, yeah, okay.
because I want to hear how Sam sees
All
this.
right.
Because it was hopefully very special for him.
You had to wait till the last minute.
I was last.
So
yeah,
tell us how you
Okay.
felt leading up and seeing
Well,
what we'd done.
Start from
I'll start from the start,
start
and then
from
I'll
the
lead
beginning.
in, and I'll
Who-
tell my
who
side of
was
the
there?
story. All right, so there was us three in Berkey. We went to Burrinjuck Dam for, what was it, 2 nights?
No, it was
Three.
Wasn't it 3?
3 nights.
3. Yeah.
3 nights. So we were there for a little while on COD closing. Boat camping, which was lots of fun. Pretty much just pulled up and then we fished every day. What was it? I think from memory it was the second day night session. Was who got their first one?
No, Berkey got on. No, remember. So the first night, I dropped.
Yeah, so it
I
was
dropped
me,
a
you
big
on the
one.
boat,
At the boat.
and it
At the
was-
boat.
you hooked
Okay,
up
Sam
and
could
you
with
reeled
that
it
job.
in, and then yeah, I was in. I was ready to go.
Nah,
As soon as that went on, I had
It
it,
just pulled. I don't know what. I think maybe angler error, but
and it was just
I don't think I
dead
let it go.
quiet afterwards on the boat, and we pulled the pin after that. But yeah, but it was like great trip. Had lots of fun, and then so Berkey, who got their first meter? It was you.
Berkey got the
Berkey
first
got
one.
the first one.
So that was the first morning session.
First morning session, 102, and that was
And
pretty cool.
That was cool. Sorry, I'll butt in just for a
Yeah.
minute because we withheld the measurement until the boys got there because I told them over the phone, I said, it's thereabouts. I said,
You go 95 to 105.
95 to 105 is hard to split the difference with your eye. So I said, there's a fish here that's thereabouts. Come over and
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, we measured up and got there, and the excitement was on then, and we're like, okay, you know what? This is first morning session. We're like, we're on here for a big one, and we're starting to celebrate a bit, and then we head back in, and then you got the next one.
I did, but
Yeah.
that night was crickets again.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, so that night
Yeah.
session, we were actually you were pushing
Oh, yeah.
hard to move.
Only because of the wind. It wasn't the fish.
It was very
it was
windy.
windy.
Yeah. And I was like, nah, we're not moving. I'm just sitting there like, because I couldn't be bothered. I was like, nah, I'm here.
But you didn't say this. You just keep
I said
quiet
at
and you'd
the
be like,
end.
oh, I think I'd rather stay.
I'd rather stay
But
here.
You never push.
Yeah, I just sat there. I'm like, nah, I'd kind of rather stay. And then, anyway, yeah, then you barreled up a big one. You're on the phone. We're
That's
on
weird.
the phone.
That's never happened before. We were on the
Yeah.
phone to each
So
other.
we were calling because it
I'm
was
with Berkey.
dead water. Yeah, so it was me and Ben on the boat. You and Berkey. It was just dead. We weren't seeing much, and we're like calling each other, like, hey, what are you saying? Like, we're gonna pull the pin. What do you reckon? And then all of a sudden, you just hear Jay go, yep, oh, I've gone on, and it cuts out. And then
Bad
so
phone signal.
Ben and I are just like sitting there like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, like, yes! And we're like, okay, so he's on. And then Ben's like, one more. So Ben throws this.
Wait, Ben's a big believer in a bite
Big-
window.
a bite window.
Loves
A
a
big
bite
bite
window.
window.
And this is fact.
Yeah, so it worked. So it worked.
There was so we were on the phone and there was a tree, and everyone that fishes Burrinjuck know that the cod, for some reason, their behaviour is to, not a lot of them, but a lot of them do sit just on a tree. So let's just check this one tree out. So we go over, and sure enough, I think there was 2 hanging off it. And Sammy had the first cast and he munted it like usual.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then I just quickly flick one in because I was pretty keen to go and see Jake. And sure enough, this fish whacked me on the way out, and
Little fella, wasn't
it
it?
was a 94. Yeah,
Yeah, it was little fella.
Little to you. Yeah.
Did you shake it up with the
Anyway,
boat?
yeah, just shook it up with the boat. No, we got him in for a quick pick and a measure, and then shot up to Jake, and Jake had he'd already had it in the boat, measured, and now back in for a swim, and we rocked up, and he goes, guess how big, and then I'll pass on to you. I'll let you tell.
I think you guessed a one. Did you guess a 180 or a 120? You were a centimeter off.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching the video again the other day.
Yeah.
Which obviously you can go back and watch the video. It's obviously a very cool video. But yeah, it was a 119 caught, which I was pretty happy about. I reckon it's a 120. Berkey never adds that GST.
Nah,
You got to add the Matt GST. There's a bit like if it's 119, like you make sure it's 120.
like a 99. No one's ever caught a 99.
Yeah. So then I got that on the second morning.
Yeah.
And then we went to camp. We were in a very good mood.
That was in the morning.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because the third morning was cod closed. We couldn't fish.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's
was,
right.
it
Yeah,
was. Because
because in the third
because the next two miracles happened on the same
on the
night.
same night.
day.
Yeah, so we were. I was already like I didn't care for fishing anymore.
Yeah.
Like because I was already up and about. Like you caught a fish. Me and Tyson got meteries.
Yeah.
Like I was happy. I was done. Like I was happy. I was done.
Yeah.
And then we celebrated probably a bit too hard during the day.
Very, very hard. Yeah.
Very hard during the day.
Pretty much got pissed and then played games at camp.
Yeah, and because I was happy. Like I knew that was my last.
We were
week
all
of the
happy.
year.
Like we were all like, this is the best time trip video. Like this is going to be amazing. So we're all up and about celebrating, and then we're like, oh, one more session.
Yeah, we realised we forgot we had to fish. So
We're
we
like,
sober
shit,
up quick.
one more for the end of the year. Let's just go out. Well, it doesn't really matter. Like we'll just go out.
Well, we did want Sam because you were in with me.
Yeah.
We like to go
I'd had a
fish.
fish at this stage. It wasn't meter, but I was content with it.
Yeah. And
So the goal was
loved-
to get Sam a fish.
Yeah, and then we started getting a bit dark, and then all of a sudden
It was dark.
it was dark, and then Ben just
caught. Did you
smashed
call
it
us?
on.
I called. It was my phone, but Berkey was talking, and he said, "Ben's just got like a 105," and I looked at him, and I was like, "Are you?"
See, he doesn't have that GST.
Yeah,
mate.
I was like, "Mate, are you kidding?" I was like, "This thing is like at least $1.10 plus." Anyway,
Facts.
it was one tree down from where I caught that 90 centimeter cod, and I remember two of them sitting on the tree, and I threw it in there, and I had to keep it super high in the column, and I don't know why all my fish eat at the boat, all of them, and they just peel drag, and I just get so rattled by it. So anyway, I'm peeling this what was it? Perch palm, another perch palm.
Yeah.
I was peeling this perch palm back to the boat, and then just as I could see my lure, you just see this massive mouth just take it and do a big.
Oh, did you see it?
Yeah, I just saw this. I could just see this white mouth open.
Yeah, right.
And then the lure was gone.
That would have been cool.
And then this big boil just turned around and shot back down, and it was just literally just like, and then it slowly pulled up.
It's mad how much they can pull on a near lock drag.
Yeah.
I can't believe
Yeah, and it was a fat fish.
Fattest fish I've ever seen. By
Fat
far.
fish. So he was a 113, I think.
Yeah. That I reckon it was heavier than the 190. I don't know. I didn't weigh, but you saw what I was like with my 119. But
And it had this monstrous head on it. It's the biggest, I said it multiple times.
Best head you ever had?
Best head I ever had.
yeah, nice mate.
It had
Respect.
just one of those whomper stomper mouths on it. Mouth you can never forget.
But that wasn't the end of the trip.
No. So anyway, we got the boys over, and Jake was up and about. All the boys were up and about. And then from that moment onwards,
You followed us.
I remember I was following the boat, scanning secondhand water for Sam. I was just like, Sam is getting a fish.
It was a proper spoon feed.
Yeah.
Oh, like the iconic spoon feed
Yeah,
that
big
everyone
time.
dreads.
But I remember just standing there, and I'm like,
I said-
it's getting late, and I'm like, nah, it's over. Like I'm sitting, I'm happy. The boys have got some monster fish. I haven't caught one, but that's not shocking. And then I was just like, nah, it's over. And then we just scanned and there's just one there just sitting pretty. And I'm just like, I had a big, I think it was an Ignite, and it was too heavy, so it was sinking a lot. So I grabbed your rod, and you had a lighter lure on.
Yeah.
And I picked up, I'm like, you're just like, quick, throw it. And I'm like, all right. And I've never used your rod before. It has a short butt, did I have? It's shorter than mine.
I'm trying to think of the rod you used. Nah, it might be shorter than yours, but
It's shorter than mine.
It's shorter in the tip because I broke the tip.
Yes. Yeah, so I wasn't really used to it. I just picked it up. I'm like, yep, righto, throw it.
But you had used it previously through the night, and you would bird's nest in it a bit because it was so light.
Yeah, I wasn't used because I'd use mine and it'd be fine because it's a heavy lure.
Somehow we managed to...
Just perfect cast, just dragged it over and it just smoked it. And I just...
Was it swimming this way and the lure's coming?
No, it was perfect. It followed over the head, so it was just swimming and then straight over the head, and it just went bang, straight up.
Same as mine, nailed it straight away.
Straight, didn't even think about it, just went boom. And then, reeled that thing in.
Did you know as soon as it hit?
I seen it on the screen, I was like, that's got to be it. And then...
It peeled as well.
It was peel and drag.
I have a saw, I wouldn't say locked, but I have a tight drag.
And I knew, and I was like, just stay on. I'm like, for the love of God, stay on. Because that's all I wanted, just finally tick off that meter because it's been a long, long time. And then, got it on the boat.
You remember Ben in the background?
Yeah. Ben
he was trying to give me tips, but then he was also celebrating at the same time.
Yeah, if you watch the video, it's the best.
Yeah. You tighten your drag, but you didn't.
Because I just hear Sam, Jake saying it's peel and drag, and I thought Sam had his rod, and he's notorious for having a soft drag. I'm like, tighten your drag. Not that you probably need to, because we don't need structure or anything. But I was just worried for you. I was just.
And then if you watch the video, you can hear him in the background go da 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 da. As I'm reeling it in, I'm like, this better stay on now. And then got it in the net, and we just celebrated pretty hard.
Oh,
that was good. We literally docked the boats together and sat there for 45 minutes, just talking about what the hell went on this weekend.
Yeah, and I reckon that's honestly, I know we all caught a meter fish, but that's probably my favourite part of the weekend. We literally just chilled in the boat and we just turned the electrics off. We just chatted crap, and we were like, what just happened?
The fish that you got, you could tell that was a much fitter fish, I reckon.
Yeah, it was thinner.
It wasn't a fat fish, and I reckon that's why it peeled so much drag. Pre-live scope, my PV was a skinny but long cod, and it peeled me. I remember saying to you, I called it for a meter, but I don't know, there's a difference between a slob. A slob will roll over and you can know it's big, but a fit fish will just continuously, like a Murray fish, I reckon. Yeah. Anyway, good times.
Trips.
Oh, it's probably the best fishing trip we've ever done, in my opinion. I'm sure I know all you two, and I know Burke will very all agree with that. It's definitely probably the top trip for me.
Yeah.
Good finish to the season last year anyway, because it was a pretty successful winter especially for me and you. We had a pretty good year, so it was a good end to the year.
Absolutely. Oh well, that just about wraps up our first episode of the, what are we calling this thing?
The Outback podcast.
The Outback podcast. So episode 1 Outback podcast. That brings us to a halt. Hope you guys stay tuned for, what do you reckon,
hopefully twice a month, but definitely every month.
Yeah, at least once a month. We'll always have a funny yarn for you, or
we got plenty. Ben's got plenty.
We've got lots of stories in the bag.
At the very least, we'll take the piss out of Sam.
Yeah, pretty much. It's easy.
Nice. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.